Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. We take these really complex bundles of information you send our way and try to boil them down to the core insights, the really fascinating stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And today, we are diving into a career that's, well, it's defined by more than just talent, isn't it? It's about radical transformation, almost like strategic image warfare, and just incredible longevity in pop culture.
Absolutely. We're looking at Miley Cyrus, who you could almost call the ultimate pop chameleon. I mean, if you're looking for an artist who just never, ever stays in one place, who made changing her image her whole brand, well, that's her.
Right.
And we've got sources here covering, what, 2 decades. It's a huge amount of material. And what it shows isn't really chaos, maybe, but more like a very carefully managed career built on this deep creative restlessness.
Yeah, our mission today feels pretty huge. The sources take us through her entire timeline, from that billion-dollar Disney start that made her a global name, right up to now, where she's this Grammy-winning artist breaking chart records. We're going to track her evolution across so many genres. I mean, bubblegum pop, rock, hip-hop, country, even psychedelic stuff.
It's wild.
And then there are the public image shifts, the controversies, the big personal changes, and what was the actual impact of all those choices commercially and culturally? It's like studying control through, well, what looks like anarchy sometimes.
Let's maybe start with the basics, though, because even her name tells a story of change, right? She was born Destiny Hope Cyrus, November 23, 1992, in Franklin, Tennessee.
Destiny Hope.
Yeah. And the nickname Miley is actually pretty sweet. It just came from Smiley, because apparently she smiled a lot as a baby. And she made it official Miley Ray Cyrus in 2008. The Ray is a tribute to her grandfather, Ronald Ray Cyrus.
And the family connection, obviously you can't ignore it. Daughter of Billy Ray Cyrus, the country star, and her godmother, Dolly Parton.
Doesn't it get much bigger than that?
Right. The sources really emphasize how that sort of Southern celebrity background laid the groundwork for her moving between pop, country, rock later on. She kind of had that credibility baked in from the start.
Yeah, that's a good point. And there's another early detail the sources mentioned. Maybe it hints at the intense energy she's always had. She was born with supraventricular tachycardia, SVT.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a condition causing an unusually fast resting heart rate. Now, obviously that's medical, but it almost feels symbolic, doesn't it? Given the relentless pace she keeps up across all her different identities.
Interesting. And the career started young. Her acting debut was in her dad's show Doc back in 2001.
Right, as Kylie.
But the really big decision, the one that basically set her path for the next decade, was choosing to audition for Hannah Montana instead of a role in the adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Wow, talk about a sliding doors moment, right? One path leads to global superstardom.
And the other, maybe just a footnote. Crazy. Okay, so let's unpack Hannah Montana. Because it wasn't just a hit show. It was like a corporate and cultural juggernaut.
Oh, completely. The sources break down how it happened really clearly, starting right from the casting.
And the casting itself is interesting, right? Because she wasn't the obvious choice initially.
Not at all. She was only 13, and she actually auditioned for the best friend role first.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But the producers saw something, her charisma, her singing, what they called her goofy acting, and they gave her the lead, Miley Stewart. Even though they had initially turned her down for being too small and too young, they basically broke their own rules for her.
And it paid off instantly. Premiered in March 2006, biggest audience ever for Disney Channel at the time. It just blew up. Highest rated series on basic cable, boom, she's the teen idol for that whole generation.
Overnight, yeah. And commercially, wow, it was way more than a TV show. It was this massive machine. The sources point out she was the first person at Disney to have deals across everything at the same time. TV, movies, merchandise, and music. Analysts called it a billion-dollar franchise.
$1 billion.
And that early success included 2 #1 soundtracks on Billboard, but credited to Hannah Montana, the character.
Right, not Miley Cyrus.
Exactly. And that distinction, the character being bigger than her, that's really key to understanding why she pushed so hard for independence later.
But even while Hannah Montana was dominating, her solo career was already being built, kind of in parallel, like a strategic escape plan almost.
Yeah, Hollywood Records signed her for a 4-album deal, specifically for non-Hannah stuff. So even the company knew they needed this duality for the long run.
So her solo debut was kind of bundled, wasn't it?
It was unusual. Hannah Montana 2, Meet Miley Cyrus in 2007, a 2-disc set. The second disc was her official solo debut.
And it still went to #1.
Yep. #1 on the Billboard 200, sold over 3 million copies eventually. Then her second solo album, Breakout in 2008, also hit #1, even better first-week sales.
And she was writing more by then.
That's the key thing. The sources note she co-wrote 8 songs on Breakout. She was already pushing, even then, to be seen as a songwriter, not just the girl in the wig. It shows that ambition was there early on.
And you can't talk about this time without mentioning Party in the USA. That song just exploded beyond Disney.
Oh, totally. From the 2009 EP, The Time of Our Lives, it became like the anthem for that moment, didn't it? Still gets played everywhere.
Absolutely.
Definitely her first huge signature song, Away from the Hannah character. It went 14 times platinum in the U.S. Just massive. And the label even marketed that EP as a transitioning album.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like gently trying to ease the public into a more mature sound. A bridge away from the blonde wig, basically.
And the live shows back then. The demand was apparently insane.
Unbelievable for a teen star. The Best of Both Worlds tour, 2007-08. Ticketmaster people were comparing the demand to the Beatles or Elvis.
Beatles or Elvis? For a teenager, that's wild.
It's almost hard to believe, right? The demand was so crazy, it led directly to that 3D concert movie, Hannah Montana and Miley Cyrus, Best of Both Worlds concert.
Right, I remember that.
And she just kept breaking records, Hannah Montana. The movie soundtrack in 2009 made her the youngest artist ever. She was 16 to have 4 #1 albums on the Billboard 200. Commercially, she was just unstoppable.
And then comes the other side of that coin. Massive fame, especially teen fame controlled by a huge company. Controversy is almost inevitable, right? Especially when the star starts trying to break free.
Exactly. The storms started brewing pretty early, around 16. And you can see that clash between the star and the machine starting.
What were the first big ones?
The sources point to a couple of key moments that started cracking that perfect Disney image. First, those leaked photos in 2008.
Oh, yeah, the hacked email account.
Right. Underwear, swimsuit pics, immediate outrage from parents, media talking about her being too sexualized too soon.
And then the Vanity Fair shoot, that was huge.
Massive. The Annie Leibovitz shoot. Initially, everyone thought she'd posed topless. The New York Times later clarified she was actually wrapped in a bedsheet.
But the perception was already out there.
Exactly. The damage was done. She was instantly painted as rebellious.
And by 2009, she was already testing boundaries on stage, too. The Teen Choice Awards performance.
Yeah. Party in the U.S.A. again. It caused a national uproar, seriously, just because of her outfit and what people called pole dancing on an ice cream cart.
An ice cream cart.
I know. But what's fascinating is how quickly the narrative turned against her. She was in this impossible spot, needed to grow up, shed the Disney identity to stay relevant and evolve artistically.
But any move towards being more mature or even slightly rebellious got blown up and condemned.
Totally. Especially by conservative critics and parts of the press. So you can see why a radical shift was probably inevitable. Gentle steps clearly weren't cutting it for her, or for the public's appetite for drama. The stage was set for bangers.
Okay, so Hannah Montana wraps up. And the next phase is all about making a very loud, very visible break from that teen past. Starts around 2010, but interestingly, she tried film first, right? Not music straight away.
Yeah, that suggests she was still kind of figuring out what her independent voice would be. She did The Last Song, the Nicholas Sparks movie, which actually did well.
Right, that's where she met Liam Hemsworth.
Exactly. And she announced a break from music to focus on acting. But the movies after that, like LOL and So Undercover, they didn't really land.
Yeah, those kind of flopped.
Right. So it seemed clear her path to being taken seriously as an adult had to be through music and performance, not necessarily movies.
So then came Can't Be Tamed in 2010. That album felt like a real statement of intent. Very dance pop, much more aggressive image.
Definitely intentional. It was her first album not to hit #1 on Billboard, which is interesting. Shows maybe the public wasn't quite ready or maybe just confused by the sudden change.
The title says it all, really. Can't Be Tamed.
Pretty much summed it up. Total defiance.
Yeah.
And the performances got way more provocative, like pretending to kiss a female dancer on Britain's Got Talent. That caused a stir.
And the personal controversies started piling up, too, fueling that rebellious narrative.
Oh, yeah. The big one was that video in December 2010 of her smoking salvia from a bong. She was 18, filmed by friends, leaked online instantly. Huge media storm.
Right. And wasn't there something with an animated movie, Hotel Transylvania?
Yes. The sources mention this, and it really shows how far she was pushing against that old Disney image. She was apparently dropped from voicing a character in the film.
Why?
Because she was photographed, let's say, interacting inappropriately with a penis-shaped cake at Liam Hemsworth's birthday party.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's not very Disney.
Definitely not. It showed her choices were becoming deliberately provocative, almost designed to alienate her old corporate image. But maybe the biggest signal of this whole internal shift was the hair.
The big chop. The blonde pixie cut.
Yeah, cutting off all that long brown hair.
Yeah.
She said herself she never felt more herself in her whole life after that. It felt like a real physical liberation from the Hannah character.
So then, things get really interesting around 2013. She makes this deliberate pivot towards hip-hop and R&B. This wasn't just image anymore, it was a whole new sound.
Exactly. And it came with big changes behind the scenes, too. She hired Larry Rudolph, who famously managed Britney Spears through her controversial periods.
All right, sending a signal there.
Right. And she signed with RCA Records. Musically, she started working with producers like Pharrell Williams, Mike Will Made It, getting that heavy, dirty South feel people talked about. This wasn't just dabbling, it was a full dive into that sound.
And the collaborations came quickly, showing she could actually fit in that world.
Yep. Snoop Lions, Ashtrays, and Heartbreaks, Will.i.am's Fall Down, and especially Mike Will Made It's 23, which hit number 11 on the Hot 100. She was embedding herself right in the middle of it.
Which all leads up to bangers in 2013 and just the media explosion that followed. This was the big comeback, the definitive break from the past.
For sure. The first single, We Can't Stop, was huge globally. Broke the Vivo record for views in 24 hours. First video to hit 100 million views there. It proved that the shock value and the new sound could absolutely work commercially.
But the moment everyone remembers, the one that dominated headlines for weeks, the 2013 VMA performance.
Oh, that performance. With Robin Thicke, it was pure spectacle, designed to shock, and boy, did it succeed.
Yeah, the foam finger.
The simulated sex acts. Social media just imploded. People called it disturbing, a train wreck. But importantly, critics also pointed out that the sexuality, while provocative, felt like it wasn't just for the male gaze.
Ah, interesting, like Madonna.
Exactly. People immediately made that comparison, using shock not just for attention, but to grab control of her own narrative, her own body.
And then, almost right after that chaos, she drops Wrecking Ball.
The timing was brilliant. This huge emotional power ballad became her first U.S. #1 single.
And the video was just as talked about.
Oh yeah, swinging naked on a wrecking ball, 19 million views in 24 hours. Massive controversy again. Sinead O'Connor famously wrote her those open letters.
Criticizing her, right, saying she was being objectified.
Yeah, arguing the spectacle was overshadowing her talent. But commercially, the Bangers era was a monster success.
It debuted at #1.
Yep, 270,000 copies first week. MTV named her Artist of the Year. Billboard called it the top music moment of 2013. It was chaotic, sure, but it cemented her control and proved she could escape Disney's shadow through these huge, risky moves.
What's wild, though, is right at that peak, she immediately swerves again into something totally different and non-commercial, Miley Cyrus and her Dead Pets.
That was the real curveball. A surprise album released for free online right after she hosted the VMAs in 2015.
But she also came out as pansexual, right? First host to do that.
Exactly. And the album itself, really experimental, psychedelic pop rock, mostly self-written and produced, lots of collaboration with Wayne Coyne from the Flaming Lips.
So not exactly radio-friendly.
Not at all. She described it as a little psychedelic, but still in that pop world. It showed she was willing to ditch the massive commercial machine for pure artistic freedom, even reportedly threatening her label, RCA, if they didn't let her release it for free. It proved she'd prioritize creating over just selling records when she wanted to.
So after the psychedelic detour of Dead Pets, it feels like she kind of cycled back towards the mainstream for a bit, maybe cleaning the palette after all that noise?
Yeah, the mid-2010s saw her doing things that felt a bit more structured, starting with going back to TV in a big way.
Right, The Voice.
Yep. She was a coach for 2 seasons, 11-13, and she was the youngest coach ever on any version of the show worldwide.
What?
It gave her that mainstream visibility again, kind of normalized her image after the Dead Pets experimentation, put her back in living rooms, focused on her music knowledge, not controversy.
And she was still acting a bit too, wasn't she?
She was. She did that Woody Allen miniseries, Crisis in 6 Scenes, playing a radical activist. And she had that voice cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2, still keeping her options open, never just doing one thing.
Musically, this period brought Younger Now in 2017. That felt like a big shift back towards her roots.
Definitely. A conscious return to a country pop sound. Much cleaner, more acoustic, focused on songwriting again. A real contrast to Dead Pets.
And Malibu was a hit from that album.
Yeah, top 10 on the Hot 100. It proves she could switch styles and still have success without relying on shock value. Just good melody, more introspective lyrics.
It seemed like a quieter time, maybe, but she was still using her platform, especially with philanthropy.
Absolutely. The sources really highlight how she consistently uses her music for causes, like performing The Climb.
A Hannah Montana classic.
Right. She performed it to honor the victims of the Las Vegas shooting, and then again at the March for Our Lives rally. It shows how those older songs can take on new meaning years later, become these unifying anthems. It's a strange kind of continuity to her whole career.
Okay, so moving into 2018, 2019, another shift. More collaborations, leaning into a kind of mature pop rock sound.
Yeah, the track with Mark Ronson, Nothing Breaks Like a Heart, that was huge, especially internationally. Hit #2 in the UK. Really cemented her status as a serious adult vocalist outside the U.S., too.
And she really built up a reputation for doing amazing covers around this time.
She did. Became known as a powerhouse cover artist. The sources mention her version of Islands in the Stream for the Dolly Parton tribute, and her take on Ariana Grande's No Tears Left to Cry. Critics really started focusing on her raw vocal talent again, acknowledging maybe the banger's spectacle sometimes overshadowed just how good a singer she is.
Wasn't she planning a series of EPs around then?
Yes, that was the plan. Started with She Is Coming in 2019, which did well. Debuted at #5. It was meant to be the first of 3 EPs. She Is Here and She Is Everything We're Supposed to Follow, making up a full album called She Is Miley Cyrus.
And it had some cool collabs on it. RuPaul, Sway Lee.
Ghostface Killah, too.
Yeah.
Really diverse. But that whole plan got scrapped.
Before we get to why, there was also that Black Mirror episode. That felt like a big cultural moment.
Oh, Rachel, Jack, and Ashley, too. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Playing the exploited pop star Ashley O, it drew immediate comparisons to the whole Free Britney movement, which Miley herself supported.
Right.
It put her right in the center of that conversation about artists' rights and exploitation in the industry. Very timely, very resonant.
So that brings us to the Plastic Hearts era, 2020 to 2022. An era defined by rock music and, well, resilience seems like the right word. And the reason those EPs got canceled was pretty major.
Yeah, that whole album plan just fell apart because her life underwent massive changes. Her very public divorce from Liam Hemsworth, losing their house in the Woolsey fire.
Devastating.
Right. The sources make it clear the music had to change because her life changed so dramatically. It gave the next phase this really raw, authentic energy. She needed a new sound to deal with all that trauma.
And that sound was rock. Plastic Hearts in 2020 was a full-on dive into rock and glam rock.
Totally. She cited Britney Spears and Metallica as influences, which is quite a combo.
It is.
And she brought in actual rock legends, Dua Lipa on Prisoner, but also Billy Idol, Joan Jett. That gave the album instant credibility within the genre.
And it worked commercially, too, right? Another successful reinvention.
Absolutely. Debuted at #2, it became her 12th top 10 album, and get this, it broke the record for the most U.S. Billboard 200 top 5 albums by a female artist in the 21st century.
Wow. That really speaks to her staying power across all these changes.
Doesn't it? Long after the teen idol phase. And she really focused on live performance again, especially post-pandemic lockdowns, like performing at that first TikTok tailgate before the Super Bowl in 2021.
And she signed new deals, too.
It moved to Columbia Records in 2021. Yeah. And got an overall deal with NBC Universal, which led to her doing that annual New Year's Eve party special she hosts now. She became a major network personality again.
And she wrapped up that period with a live album.
Attention.
Yeah.
Miley Live in 2022. And it wasn't just a standard live album. She said it was curated by the fans, for the fans, included covers, but also 2 unreleased tracks, Attention and You.
So really engaging with her audience directly.
Exactly. And critics praised her voice again, one calling it a force to be reckoned with, seamlessly fitting whatever genre she chooses to tackle. That kind of sums up where she was heading into this latest massive era of vocalists who can conquer anything.
Okay, so that brings us right up to 2023, and what feels like maybe the absolute peak of her adult career so far, driven by endless summer vacation and, well, that song.
Flowers. Yeah, a cultural phenomenon. Announced during her New Year's show, dropped January 13, 2023, went straight to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Her second U.S. #1.
Right, and her longest-running #1 in a decade. It felt like the moment the whole world really embraced this mature, self-assured, empowered Miley.
And the speed of its success was just staggering, wasn't it? The streaming numbers.
Historic. At the time, it was the fastest song ever to hit 100 million Spotify plays just 7 days. And fastest to 1 billion plays 112 days.
1 billion plays in under 4 months.
Insane. It hit #1 in 37 countries. The IFPI officially named it the best-selling song globally for 2023. These aren't just pop star numbers, these are mega superstar numbers. She reached that level.
And even on radio, its staying power was unbelievable.
Record-breaking. Longest run ever at #1 on any Billboard Airplay chart, 57 weeks straight on adult contemporary. And the most weeks ever on top of all Billboard Airplay charts, combined 106 weeks.
Over 2 years combined at #1 on radio charts.
It's just undeniable dominance. Lasted way over a year.
And the album, Endless Summer Vacation, followed in March 2023. What was the vibe there?
Her first on Columbia Records, she called it her love letter to L.A. Mostly sophisticated pop, dance pop, really reflecting her growth physically and mentally after the divorce, the fire, the pandemic.
And she did those backyard sessions specials too, right, on Disney Plus app.
Yeah, which was a really interesting, deliberate choice. Going back to Disney Plus ad, the platform that launched her, but now completely as the adult artist in full control, full circle in a way.
With all that success, the big awards had to follow, and the Grammys finally came through for her in 2024.
Her first 2 wins, Record of the Year and Best Pop Solo Performance, both for Flowers.
And she made sure everyone knew it during the performance.
Oh yeah, changing the lyrics live on stage. I just won my first Grammy. Such a great, spontaneous moment of pure joy and vindication after that long, often bumpy road.
Her status as a go-to collaborator seemed locked in too.
Definitely. 2024 saw her on Pharrell's Doctor, Work It Out. And maybe even bigger, that duet with Beyoncé on Cowboy Carter, 2 Most Wanted.
Which won a Grammy too.
Her third, Best Country Duo Group Performance. Winning Grammys in pop and country now, just validating that whole versatile background.
And she hasn't stopped. There's already a new album out, Something Beautiful, May 2025.
9th studio album. She described it as hypnotic, an attempt to medicate somewhat of a sick culture through music. So still ambitious, still tackling big themes. Critics seem to like it, calling it introspective, a prog pop fantasia. Suggests she's still pushing into more complex conceptual work.
And it wasn't just an album, right? There was a film, too.
A visual album, a musical film of the same name. She co-wrote and directed it. Premiered at Tribeca. Billboard called it a one-of-a-kind pop opera. Just shows the total creative control she has now over the whole package. Music, visuals, concept. A world away from the Disney days.
And maybe the ultimate full circle moment, getting named a Disney legend in 2024.
At 31. The youngest ever recipient.
Yeah.
Recognized for her contributions to the company that started it all. From teen idol through rebellion to respected icon celebrated by the very machine she once fought so hard to escape. It's quite a journey.
So beyond the music, beyond the constant reinvention, Miley Cyrus has always been incredibly open about her personal identity, her lifestyle. Let's touch on how she talks about sexuality and gender, because that feels really central to your whole story.
It really does. And it's been remarkably consistent, actually, even as the music changes. She came out to her mom as gender fluid and pansexual when she was just 14.
Wow, that young.
Yeah. And she said publicly she doesn't relate to being boy or girl. She's open to loving anyone who loves her for who she is. That openness was a huge deal, especially when she hosted the VMAs in 2015 as the first openly pansexual host. Made her such an important figure for young people figuring out their own identities.
And that complexity definitely seemed to inform her relationship with Liam Hemsworth, that whole on-again, off-again saga.
Right. Culminating in the marriage in 2018, then the divorce in 2020. She even talked about how the marriage redefined what it looks like for someone that's a queer person like me to be in a hetero relationship.
And didn't she say the house fire was a big factor in them getting married?
She did. Losing their home in the Woolsey fire, she said it made them realize no one is promised the next day. Pushed them towards that commitment, perhaps rooted in that shared trauma. Very intense.
She's also been pretty outspoken about not wanting kids.
Yeah, since about 2019. Very vocal about being child-free, and she specifically linked it to concerns about climate change, adding another layer of sort of social commentary to her personal choices.
Okay, shifting to wellness. Her relationship with substances, especially cannabis, was super public during the bangers phase.
Oh, definitely. She was very open about it, famously called cannabis the best drug on earth back then. And that incident at the MTV Europe Music Awards in 2013, where she lit up what looked like a joint on stage, that really cemented the rebellious image.
But she shifted away from that now, right? Sobriety.
A really clear shift, yeah. Shows another kind of evolution, focused on longevity maybe. She first quit around younger, now in 2017. saying she wanted to be super clear for that album cycle. And then she became strictly sober, no cannabis, no alcohol, after having vocal cord surgery in late 2019. Recognizing the impact it had on her voice, her health. Her mom even said in 2020 Miley was the cleanest person I know, a total turnaround from her early 20s.
There was also that controversy about her diet change, wasn't there? From veganism.
Yeah, shows how everything she does gets scrutinized. She'd been vegan for years. It was part of her public identity. But in 2020, she switched to being pescatarian because she was suffering from an omega-3 deficiency. Her brain wasn't functioning properly.
And people got mad.
Oh, the vegan community online gave her a lot of backlash, accused her of being a hypocrite. She talked about how hard it was, saying she cried for the fish because eating it felt wrong to her. It just highlights the intense pressure she's under for every single choice.
So let's try and sum up her artistic footprint. It's just incredibly broad, isn't it? Pop, rock, country, teen pop, hip-hop, psychedelic.
All of it. And she's got that really distinctive voice, that mezzo-soprano with the rasp, the Nashville twang, as you called it. It gives everything she does this unique edge, whether it's pop or rock.
And her influences are just as varied.
Elvis is her #1, she says. But also Madonna, Dolly Parton, Britney, Joan Jett, Metallica. A real mix. She absorbs everything.
Which leads to that constant comparison, the pop chameleon, often compared to Madonna.
Right. Critics call her the Madonna of her generation because of that constant reinvention, the confrontational use of sexuality in a way that feels like it's asserting control, not just catering to male expectations.
Finally, we absolutely have to mention her philanthropy, because that seems like the one constant thread through all the chaos and change.
The Happy Hippie Foundation, which he started in 2014, its focus is specific. Fight injustice facing homeless youth, LGBTQ youth, and other vulnerable populations. That mission has stayed consistent.
And she uses her platform really effectively for it, like that hashtag Instapride campaign.
Yeah, with Instagram showcasing transgender and gender-expansive people. And she supports tons of other charities, Make-A-Wish, Elton John AIDS Foundation. But maybe the most powerful example the sources give is the 2014 VMAs.
When she won for Wrecking Ball.
Instead of giving a speech, she had a young homeless man named Jesse Helt accept the award for her to raise awareness for My Friend's Place, using that massive moment not for herself but for the cause. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, and donating $500,000 after the Woolsey fire, too.
Right. Tangible support. The sources say she supports over 39 charities. So whatever controversies swirl around her image, that commitment to social issues seems unwavering. Hashtag tag outro. Synthesis and final thought.
So if we zoom out and look at this whole incredible timeline, the main takeaway has to be strategic, constant reinvention, right? This deliberate, almost aggressive shedding of skin at every turn.
Absolutely. From Hannah Montana, through the shock of bangers, the rock of plastic hearts, the global triumph of endless summer vacation. She's just mastered transformation.
The output is staggering. 9 studio albums, 5 soundtracks, those Grammy wins, 3 now at the Beyoncé collab, and topped off with being a Disney legend. She is, without a doubt, one of the most successful, enduring, and just plain interesting pop stars of this century.
Yeah, Billboard put her at number 15 on their list of the greatest pop stars of the 21st century. And their summary was perfect. She's endured. Because no matter what style she's trying out, at the end of the day, she's always still just being Miley.
She really is the ultimate example of turning that tricky childhood fame into adult artistry, completely on her own terms. Even if those terms were often volatile, they always felt authentic to her at the time.
Which brings us to a final thought for you, the listener. Her latest album is called Something Beautiful, and she described it as trying to medicate a sick culture. So it makes you wonder, does staying relevant as a pop superstar today require this level of constant genre-hopping reinvention and public self-examination?
Or is it just her unique talent and personality that drives this path, regardless of the spectacle? Could she have been just as successful staying in one lane?
It's definitely something to chew on, especially as we watch the next generation of young stars try to navigate that same journey, escaping the corporate mold to find their own voice.
A deep dive completed. Thanks so much for joining us.